I've always had an itch to start a company. Klarna was Europe's highest value startup, valued at 46 billion. I was brought on as their number 2 employee to help launch the business in Ireland. So we launched about 1,800 businesses, 200 of which were large businesses. However, about 1,600 of them were SMBs, and we found it really difficult to manage them. I decided to leave Klarna and move to Boston to go to MIT to build Dyle and then scale Dyle in the US. I didn't go to MIT to get a degree. I went to MIT to start a business.
Hi, I'm Tom Guinness and welcome to the 𝐓𝐨𝐬𝐬 podcast. Here we go behind the scenes with the people building the future of European tech. Today we welcome Oisín O'Sullivan to the show. Oisín is the co-founder and CEO of Dyle. Dyle is a New York-based startup that provides AI-powered revenue insights for fast-scaling teams, enabling them to prevent churn and surface upsell opportunities at the same time. Before founding the business, Oisín launched Klarna in Ireland and earned his MBA from MIT in Boston. If you want to learn what it takes to build the future of sales, you don't want to miss this. Before we begin, please hit the subscribe button. It's one quick, free, easy way for you to support the channel and help us make our production better each and every week. Thank you so much for joining us on our journey so far. Without you, none of this would be possible. Now, with that out of the way, let's dive into today's episode. Tell us a little bit about you. How's your entrepreneurial journey been to date?
Yeah, so I suppose I'm from Dublin, so it's great to be back here today before I head back to New York City tomorrow. But I've always been an entrepreneur ever since a kid here in Dublin. I don't know, selling party bags or fixing motorcycles and selling them on to helping start Launchbox at Trinity down the road there, the student accelerator program. But yeah, born and bred in Dublin. Spent most of my life here, educated here at Trinity, and worked in consulting for a while, but always had the itch for entrepreneurship. And now I'm out in the States building Dyle, building a software company to help salespeople spend more time with their customers.
That's amazing. And so could you tell us, what was the aha moment or moment of inspiration that compelled you to start Dyle?
Yeah, so it was a blend of two aspects. I suppose I've always had an itch to start a company, but never knew exactly what problem was the most feasible to work on. But it was a lot of what I wanted to build was in the B2B space, and I wanted to build on experience I had and problems I experienced through work rather than through just normal day-to-day life. And a lot of it came from launching Klarna in Ireland. So back in 2021, Klarna was Europe's highest value startup, valued at 46 billion. And I was brought on as their number 2 employee to help launch the business in Ireland, which was amazing. And so we launched about 1,800 businesses, 200 of which were large businesses that we gave really great white glove treatment to and managed them every day. However, about 1,600 of them were SMBs, and we found it really difficult to manage them. And it was quite costly to manage them as well. And so started talking to a lot of our partners, like Salesforce, Stripe, and Adyen, and Shopify, and found out they too found it really difficult to manage their smaller customers and give them the same kind of treatment that they would their larger businesses. So I decided to leave Klarna and move to Boston to go to MIT to build Dyle and then scale Dyle in the US.
That's amazing. So you had the idea to start Dyle before even doing your MBA at MIT.
Oh yeah, 100%. Yeah. So when I went to MIT, we were talking to our investors. I said, I didn't go to MIT to get a degree. I went to MIT to start a business. So
that's amazing. Yeah. So could you tell us a little bit more about the problem that Dyle is trying to solve? Just dive a little bit deeper.
Yeah, essentially. So what we're doing is we're helping automate a lot of the complex workflows that account managers and customer success managers traditionally have to do in their day-to-day roles. And so what we do is we help pull information in from how your customer is behaving and how your customer is using your product to what they're saying about the product, to give account managers and customer success managers the right signals and actions to be able to help with renewals of contracts, identify opportunities to expand revenue and expand products with your existing customers, and to just give them a better general overview of how their customers are enjoying their product and what they're saying about the product.
So when it comes to the market opportunity for Dyle, where do you see the market going?
Yeah, so the market opportunity in the space is huge. There's been a big shift in the last 2 to 3 years with AI coming into the space. And so essentially a lot of pricing models are changing from tiered pricing and product-based pricing to more of like a consumption-based model.
Right.
And what that brings into the equation is account managers and customer success managers aren't necessarily selling products, but they're selling how can we get teams to use the product more. And a lot of that is much more of a consultative sale rather than a traditional tiered pricing sale. And so with that, the conversations are a lot more complicated and they have to be backed up with data. And so what we're doing at Dyle is we're tailored very much towards consumption-based pricing models by bringing in product analytics to understand how's your customer been using the product, to understand what their product needs are. What are they saying about the products in, let's say, tools like Intercom and Slack? And then what are they saying during QBRs and meetings, which you'll typically have in your CRM under the notes section. And so where we see the market going is much more into a 360 role. Before you might have account manager looks after the account initially and might manage expansion opportunities, and then the customer success manager looks after the problems and the onboarding and sometimes the renewals. But what you're going to see now is one person overseeing a lot of those actions and taking on a lot more responsibilities and having the right incentives in place. And with that, makes the role a lot more complicated. And so a tool like Dyle is facilitated just for that.
Right. So what's your vision for the business?
Yeah, it's pretty simple. I want every sales tool and account manager tool that I use as an account manager and as an account executive to be using Dyle in the future. And so where we're going with our product is very much towards helping account managers, customer success managers generate what the return of investment is for their end users and their customers, putting success plans into place, helping with renewals calls, merging product analytics with conversational data. And in addition to that, it's really partnering with a lot of these product analytics companies and CRMs and customer support tools to help become a much more 360 cycled tool that can bring all of these data sources into one area for account managers, product managers, engineers, customer support teams.
So you essentially want to turn it into a one-stop shop?
Mm-hmm. So right now we've built a tool where we bring all the data into our location, and it works really well with the customers we're working with. However, in this day and age, a lot of companies are adopting new AI tools. They're testing them out, and then they're churning and they're trying other AI tools. We'll never be the best CRM or the best product analytics tool or the best customer support tool in the market, and we realize that and we acknowledge it. What we are the best at is generating signals for customer support teams, product analytics teams, sales teams, and account management teams. And so what we've built Dyle is to be the best provider of these signals, and then we can ingest them into the relevant CRMs or product analytics tools or customer success tools. So we're talking with the partnerships of like Postdoc, Mixpanel, Amplitude to be able to pull our signals into their tools so that other teams can kind of take value from Dyle without actually having to log into Dyle every day.
Right. And so, taking a step back, how did you guys build your MVP, and where's the product today?
Yeah. So how did we build our MVP? So in terms of how we built our MVP, we started off in MIT with our team, and we were just talking with customers. And we initially had generated, our MVP was initially a voice AI tool, and that's where we got the name Dyle from. And what we would do is we would share product analytics with your end users via voice AI with your SMB customers. Because a big belief that we have in Dyle is you got to understand how your customer is using your product to understand what their product needs are. And so we wanted to share those analytics with the customers. And then I suppose what we've built now is we've built a tool now that is production ready, working with multiple different kinds of customers, enterprise customers, smaller customers, mid-market businesses as well. And we're excited to, I suppose, develop out our roadmap further. But for now, it's working really well, and we're excited to see where our roadmap takes us.
So when it comes to folks using the tool, who's your ICP for Dyle?
Yeah, so really interesting question. So where we're seeing our ICP is typically these like seed stage to Series A companies, typically between 50 to 300 employees, where they're scaling really fast. And typically they're all focused on new logo acquisition, acquiring new customers, but they kind of hit this inflection moment when they're like, all right, well, now we have to consider renewals and we have to consider ACV and LTV and, right, how are we going to keep these customers and instead of how are we going to acquire new customers? And so that's kind of our perfect moment where we can come in and help them pull all these data sources together to manage their customers. Some of the companies we're working with, they might have one or two customer success or account managers managing 1,000 accounts. And they have no tool in place to help manage these kind of renewals in a successful way. And so Dyle is a first-stop shop for those kind of companies. We're also seeing demand from like enterprise businesses that typically have very siloed departments when it comes to different tools, whether it's your product analytics tools or your customer support tools. And what they'd love to see is a tool like ours bring those data together, but also help with reduce the cost of management of those smaller customers that they have. And so what we're helping them out with is automating a lot of the workflows around managing these smaller customers and providing them with very tailored data and analytics about their usage and what the success plans should be going into the next quarter or next year.
So how much impact does Dyle have on your customers' businesses?
Yeah, and in terms of productivity, we're saving over 3 hours a day for our account managers, customer success managers. And interestingly, another return for these companies that we didn't expect was a lot of these businesses will traditionally not have license seats for the different tools for different teams. So for example, a lot of customer support teams we're seeing don't have access to the CRM tools because it's just too costly to provide it for them. But with Dyle, we can pull all those data together into one set. And so we're actually saving money for businesses on their tech stack, which wasn't a benefit we expected to be providing for before. So that's a nice win for us.
Could you tell us a little bit about your traction to date with customers and how do you win customers in a very competitive environment?
We're back here in Dublin now to sign another 2 today, hopefully. And in terms of traction, like we're seeing demand from a variety of different kinds of companies. So seed stage companies that are YC backed that typically have around 6 to 8 million ARR with 1,000 paying customers, to more mid-market businesses around the 30 mil mark with 5 to 10,000 paying customers, to an enterprise that has over 60,000 SMB customers that's looking for a tool like Dyle. So we're starting to see a lot of momentum that we didn't expect before from kind of different types of customer profiles. And so now we're at capacity and we're trying to raise our next round to help facilitate some of these new logos that we're signing currently at the moment. We're managing over 55,000 accounts currently for the customers that we're working with. We're generating over 3x in terms of the expansion opportunities that their teams would typically identify, and we're reducing churn between 15 and 20% for them as well. We're VC backed. And we're raising our next round now pretty soon, heading over to the States for that.
Yeah, so we're here in our home city of Dublin. Mm-hmm. I know you're just visiting for 24 hours, so thank you for taking the time today.
Would love to have a team out here in Dublin sometime quite soon. I think the talent here in Dublin is amazing, particularly in kind of tech sales, account management, customer success management, and engineering as well. Like you've only got to look at the likes of a lot of people coming out of companies like Dropbox, Asana, DocuSign, Tyne, Salesforce,
Klarna.
HubSpot, Klarna. There's some really great talent here in Dublin, and I'm starting to see other Irish, US-based startups starting to open up offices here in Dublin as well. Interestingly, I'm starting to see a lot of startups, kind of seed stage, Series A, seed stage startups in San Francisco, opening up offices in Dublin or hiring people from Dublin remotely to help manage their kind of customer success side of the business for their European customers. So there's definitely ample opportunity here, and we'd love to open up an office here, but we're quite happy based in New York at the moment. It's a great place to be for talking with customers, fundraising, different kinds of startup events going on there. We just came out of an accelerator in New York City called ERA, Entrepreneurship Roundtable Accelerator. They've been around for since about 2011. They do 2 cohorts a year. We were their 29th cohort. They're currently on their 30th cohort. So it was a great opportunity to move down from Boston to New York, and a lot of talent and a lot of friends there too. So it's not too far from Dublin.
Amazing. Well, I mean, translating this all into dollars and cents, could you let us know a little bit about the unit economics of the business?
Yeah. So in terms of unit economics and pricing, so how we work is we typically have a fixed rate, and then we have a variable rate. Fixed rate is a fixed licensing fee to use our tool, no matter how many customers you have or what your revenue is. And then in addition to that, we have a variable rate, which is based on how many accounts that we are managing for you on a per monthly basis. And in terms of unit economics, that works out at about 1/5 of what it costs to have your customer success managers and account managers manage those accounts. So when we're speaking with these enterprise businesses, the value prop for them and why they're talking with us at Dyle and working with us at Dyle is very much about cost reduction. But then when it comes to more seed stage, Series A companies, it's more about, well, revenue generation and growth. Like, we have all these opportunities with these customers that we never thought about before, and we have all these data sets, so we don't know what to do with. We're simply overwhelmed by all the customers we have, and we don't have enough resources in place. And Dyle can help manage the expansion revenue at scale for these smaller businesses. But when it comes to the enterprise businesses, it's very much about cost reduction. And so the unit economics is pretty simple. Like, we'll manage each of your accounts for a dollar amount per month, and it will be generally 1/5 of what it costs your team to typically manage them.
Perfect. So aware you're VC backed, how did you find the fundraising process, and what did you learn from it?
So the fundraising process has been great. I suppose what really helped the fundraising process was working for a European unicorn called Klarna, and a lot of the significant work I did with launching their office here in Dublin, and a lot of that was very supportive when having conversations with VCs. VCs were very open to having dialogue with Dyle based on our previous experience, and the work I had done at Klarna really helped open a lot of doors with VCs, not only in Europe, but also in the States. And you'll see that with a lot of European entrepreneurs who've previously worked at Klarna that are now building startups in Europe or in the States. VCs and the investors that we've been speaking to are very interested with previous work that we've done at Klarna or other companies as well. So it's been much more of a smoother and easier process given the work I've done at Klarna before. And that was something very surprised at when going into these conversations, how much they were asking about the problem in terms of how I experienced it at Klarna and our partners and how our customers used to manage with it. So
amazing. It's becoming a more common track to go down the unicorn factory route, to go work for a big unicorn and then be funded by VCs to do something similar as well.
Yeah, well, like, my goal at Klarna was I wanted to work for a high growth business that was a European business that was growing in the States and had a base in the States and was going to scale in the States. And so that's why I actually joined Klarna, was to help set myself up for a career in the US. And that's exactly what Klarna helped me with, was help launch here in Dublin and work for them in London too. And after a few years, it was a great stepping stone for me to head over to Boston and then New York.
So what's next for Dyle? Where do you see yourself in the next 18 to 24 months?
Yeah, so the next 18 months, I'll be based in New York City and San Francisco. And the plan is the next 18 months to acquire 15 additional paying customers in the mid-market space, and then 2 enterprise businesses as well. We'll have a fully production-ready product that will be partnered with some product analytics companies and some customer support businesses that we're here in Dublin to speak with, in addition to rolling out our product roadmap. One of the most significant features we have right now is what we call our ROI feature calculator, which essentially helps account managers and customer success managers understand what the return for their users are if their users purchase a particular product or a particular feature.
So based on your experience to date, what advice would you give to the next batch of tech founders and entrepreneurs?
Yeah, so I'd say start today, not tomorrow, as the first piece. I was over doing a talk at Harvard Business School a few months ago, and a lot of the MBA students liked some of my answers that didn't expect. I was like, second piece of advice I give is aim higher than what your expectations are. Always aim higher. You never know what your actual limit and your potential is. So, and I suppose the third aspect that I resonate the most with is in terms of selling and trying to build your business or win customers, aim high, aim for the top. Always go for the most senior person you can. Email the chief executive officer, email the chief product officer or the CRO. Don't waste your time messaging middle management or anyone. Successful people want to help other people succeed. And so reach out to the person that you actually want to speak to. Don't be afraid to have a discussion with them. And so for any entrepreneur or person out there, I'd say aim high, go way above what your expectations are and start today, not tomorrow.
So outside of building the business, what do you do for fun?
Oh, outside of business, what do I do for fun? Well, I bought a motorbike in Boston, and I actually drove it down to New York after I graduated. The plan was go over Brooklyn Bridge and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, on the weekends, I like to go on the motorbike out to different places outside the city, just be able to see places that tourists typically wouldn't go to. In addition to that, play a bit of tennis as well. So like tennis and either working on my motorbike or driving around on my motorbike are like two things I love to do for fun. I was doing Gaelic football for the past while up in Boston. So last summer I was playing Gaelic football a lot. I think I'm at the age now where it's just like so much with the startup and everything else going on. It's hard to do that. But yeah, for fun, it's my tennis and the motorbike and a bit of Gaelic football. So
perfect. If you weren't a startup founder, what would you be?
If I wasn't a startup founder, I'd always be an entrepreneur. I'd either be like some version of a wheeler dealer, starting a business. Like it's always starting a business. Like it's infused in my head to always be solving problems, and so it'd always be doing that. Or it would be what my previous role was that I was pretty good at was like tech sales. Really love tech sales. Sales is my passion, and helping salespeople spend more time on what they're good at and less time on what they're bad at, which is typically data analysis and reporting. And that's why I built Dyle. Dyle is my passion. I'm genuinely a passionate person about sales, and I want to help other salespeople spend more time on that. So if it wasn't Dyle, it would be sales.
Yeah. Perfect. What are your top 3 films?
Oh, No Country for Old Men is definitely one. Second one is The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. Is that it? The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly?
Yeah, that's
what it's called. Yeah. I don't know what my third is, but they're my top 2 anyway, for sure.
Top 2.
Yeah.
Perfect. So what books would you recommend to others?
Yeah, there's a book called Founding Sales by Peter 𝐾𝐚𝐢𝐬𝐧𝐭. He came into class of ours over at Harvard to talk about entrepreneurship and talk about sales, because a lot of people don't really have sales experience in MBA programs as much. His book is given to everyone that gets into Y Combinator. I think it's a really good book to give kind of foundation principles around how to sell, what sales are like, the principles of sales for entrepreneurs. So
perfect.
That's just a simple book I give for advice.
Amazing. Final question. Who's your celebrity lookalike?
Oh, I saw this on like some video or something recently, some Instagram people were asking that and it made me think of it. A few people have said like Dave Franco.
Dave Franco?
Well, they said one of the Franco brothers. I'm pretty sure it was Dave Franco, they said. So they said I look like Dave Franco. So that's the only one I've really heard a few times. So yeah. Well, perfect. Thank you so much, Oisín, for coming in. It's been great speaking to you, and wishing you and Dyle all the best. Thank you. Love being here.